Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. As you may or may not have seen, yesterday, being January the 16th, Games Workshop was live again with its first reveal show of the year. We had a lot of incredible new minis for them to show off to everyone coming out sometime this year. We had Huron Blackheart and his Red Corsairs for the Chaos, all of which looked fantastic. We had Prince Uriel and his Eldar Corsairs for the Eldar, along with a beautiful looking new Viper jet bike sculpt. Cannot wait to get my hands on that one. We had some new Skelebobs for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers for Sigmar, among another couple of battle tomes to go along with that. We had a High Elf Blood Bowl team, which is an update of an existing team. It's not a new team, it's just a resculpted team, which I think now covers all of them from what they were saying in the preview. And then last but by no means least, we had an updated Custodes release, or preview I should say. So I'll be doing another video hopefully on the full preview show, but in this video we're going to focus on the Age of Darkness and the Custodes with all their amazing new miniatures. Showcased were updated inventory models for the likes of the Custodian Guard and Sentinel units. I think the Sentinels are just for Heresy. Plastic versions of 2 of the Custodes Grav tanks and the Kronos Grav Carrier, which looked enormous. We had plastic versions of both the Achilles Dreadnought and the Galatas Dreadnought, which are kind of Contemptor pattern but slightly bigger. One of them's got a massive looking Guardian Spear, the other one's got a big old Sentinel Blade and a shield. And then what's probably my favourite Custodes unit, plastic Venatari, which are the Custodes with big jump axe. All of which looked amazing. The Custodes range up to now has been a combination of plastic and resin, so the likes of the tanks, the Dreadnoughts, the Venatari, they were usually resin, Forge World resin models. Now they're all plastic, much like they're doing with a lot of the Heresy range. They're transporting them over to the plastic molds. Yeah, the existing Custodes stuff for me has always felt a little bit short and stumpy, especially when you compared them to like the new Guardsmen, new Marines, especially new Terminators. They're cool enough for sure, but I've always found them a little bit too wide. The proportions seemed a little bit off. The armor's always felt a bit too chunky and didn't really seem to sit well. Contrast that with the new range. The new miniatures look a little bit slimmer, taller, and the heads look like they actually fit their bodies instead of being a bit pin-sized almost compared to the body. All in all, great looking upgrade, I feel. But here is where the controversy starts. Certain members of the fanbase started to voice their displeasure, to put it mildly. See, in this new release, they've added a selection of female Custodes heads, and they've even gone so far as to make the new Shield Captain a female. Now, I'll be honest, I did find it a little bit of a surprise to start with, although given the not-so-recent drama surrounding the topic already, I probably shouldn't have been surprised. So in the not-so-distant past, GW released an animation on Warhammer Plus called The Tithes. In the second episode of The Tithes, which is a 3-episode series, I suppose, called The Harvest, they featured the very first female Custodian. Presumably a Custodian Guard. Don't think she was a shield captain or anything like that, but you never actually get told her rank in the episode. She's aided by a Sister of Silence, in retrieving a group of mortal psychers. So these are psychers who have been tested and can't continue on to be a functioning psyker, if you like. They're not able to control their powers well. From a planet watched over by the White Templars. We see her commanding the presence of the White Templar Captain Malachite, with whom she wants to have a chat with at the end of the episode. But not before she helps in killing several Tyranid, Lictors and Termagants, which look great in the animation, we said. And when she finally comes face to face with Captain Malachite at the end of the episode, it's to convey the message from the Emperor, which is what the Custodians generally tend to do. That the White Templars are to betray their oath to the world. They are oath-bound to protect and to enact exterminatus to wipe out all life on the planet to attempt to halt said Tyranid advance towards Segmentum Solar. Now, if anyone listening to this has read Devastation of Baal, they do a similar thing in that, with a load of planets surrounding the Baal system, and it goes down about as well as it goes down in the episode of the Tithes. And it's a relatively short animation. It's only about 20 minutes long, I think, and we don't even see the Custodian in it for the whole episode. But regardless, it's caused quite the stir in the Warhammer community, the wider community. There was quite a lot of vitriol and misogyny surrounding it, to be honest, and that was levelled at the episode, the creators, and Games Workshop itself by some particularly angry hobbyists. But I believe this to be just a very loud minority of people, as it is usually the case. Most of the criticism I saw levelled at the decision was down to the existing lore within the 40k universe, surrounding the Custodians and how they choose their recruits. In the earliest versions, the Custodians were just big, burly guys in a loincloth, sandals, and a pointy helmet with a spear. Picture the film 300 and the Spartans that are in that. It'll give you an idea of what they used to be portrayed as. But then in, I think, 1 or 2 editions later on, they were actually given armour, and they were then changed to be bigger and burlier and genetically engineered super soldiers, much like the space. I think they were around the same time as the Thunder Warriors were introduced, I believe. Up to now in 10th edition, sorry. The Custodians were always taken from the sons of the noble houses. They were taken or they were offered up as infants, and this was considered a great honour for these houses. Some houses even gave up almost entire generations of their sons to join the Custodes. And that has been the prevailing law right up until last year. So in 2025, when the new female Custodians hit the screen, and then the Codex with a short story about Calades Kesh, the law then changed. Kind of. Now, this is the biggest sticking point for most of the dissenters online. I kind of agree with them to a point. Instead of advancing the story, which would have made good sense, with some interesting lore surrounding the creation of the female warriors, or more importantly, the need to now start taking the daughters of these noble houses as well as the son, they decided to ignore good storytelling, in essence, and in essence create one big plot hole through the heresy as well, because they'd go back for millennia and just stated, yeah, they've always been female Custodians. No, they haven't. Not in 9 editions of the game and in decades of lore from Games Workshop. So, in saying that there have always been female Custodians in such a flippant manner, they're essentially gaslighting the community and the long-term hobbyists and Custodians fans. Now, to be clear, 0 issue with there being female Custodians. There is no law reason why there cannot be female Custodians, and it could have made for some very interesting law decisions moving forward. Or still can, to be fair. But had they decided to go with a different story to advance it, such as the Custodians' ranks have been depleted so much over the last couple of centuries, because the story advances that long, that they just needed to bolster their recruits any way they could by taking sons and daughters. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the noble houses had very few sons that they could offer up, so they decided to offer up some of their daughters instead, and they were accepted. I mean, I'm no storyteller, but I mean, there's a couple of options. Whatever the case, something more interesting than, oh, they've always been there, could have been said, could have been done. And while you still get some people, like the worst of the people, railing against that decision because, you know, it's not our female space me. I think the number of people annoyed with the decision would have been significantly less, because again, it's not the decision to include them; it's how they've gone about doing it that is upset a large portion of the people who are upset, if that makes sense. I mean, we all know it's not the first time Games Workshop have retconned the lore, and I think it's fair to say that whenever they've done it, it will have caused a certain amount of backlash. The difference being, when they've done it in the past, they haven't had a whole internet community talking about Warhammer to then discuss it. If there was backlash against a lore retcon, which, to be honest, in previous years, there was never this level of engagement from Games Workshop to go ahead with the lore. It never came this thick and fast. Talk to anyone who was around between, 2nd and 7th edition. I mean, 7th edition lasted a good long while, but any time between 2nd and 7th edition, you had whole editions where people didn't get a new codex. There weren't updates to armies. And they didn't have, as I say, the internet community, which gives access to everything and everyone, a chance to talk about it. But there would have certainly been backlash to changes. It's just a thing that happened. But doing it in the way they've done it is just lazy and quite frankly disrespectful to the fans. And if they'd have actually done it advancing the lore, it would have been fine. But regardless of how it has been done, female Custodians are here. They're here to stay, and like it or lump it, they're not going anywhere. And besides, as mentioned in the preview that they gave and the article that came with it, you can always just put a helmet on them and be none the wiser. The bigger fan meltdown will happen if they ever decide to introduce female Space Marines, because there are in-law reasons for that currently as to why they cannot happen, and if they do that without a convincing lore explanation, the fan meltdown for that will be nuclear. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I found it a tiny bit informative if you didn't know anything about the Custodes. And if you did like it, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on the new minis from Games Workshop, what your thoughts are on the new lore changes and how they went about it. Keep it civil if you can, and yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. To a bit.